Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Think about this a little bit. It's really quite simple, say the Democrats. If Americans won't vote for Democrats, then they, the Democrats, will import people who will. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America on a Wednesday, May 2. Good morning, good morning. And a good morning to you. Hope all is well in your household. And Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations say get road ready for your road trips at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, without further ado, let's have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. Well done. I've got to run and get our weather in, and I'll probably talk to you a little later. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you. Weather forecast right now brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Hello, Roger and the crew. They open the doors early at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they've got the best of rental on tools and equipment to finish the job you need finished. Absolutely. And they've got all the spring tools, the power rakes and the rototillers and the post hole diggers. Oh, are you going to go out and have a good time working? Well, I'll tell you what, K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn, right there on the Burley Paul Highway, can and will help you. Right now, here's our weather.
It's going to be a nice one today. Sunny skies is in the forecast. We are expecting a high of 64 and slightly breezy winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, expect mostly clear skies with a low of 39. Tomorrow, again, another beautiful day. Sunny and a high of 70. Mostly clear for tomorrow night. Winds are going to be out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. Expecting a low of 43. For Friday, even better. Sunny skies, high of 76. Saturday, partly sunny and 78. By Sunday, partly sunny and 77. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Wow, I can live on that. Thank you very much, Gina. And weather brought to you by K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway. Hey, call them. They'll help you right over the phone. 678-3122. K&R Rental serving you. Right now, this good word for Brad Little.
Can we trust Boise developer Tommy Ahlquist? When Obama and Pelosi were trying to grab our guns, Ahlquist was one of the Democrats' top donors in Idaho. Tommy Ahlquist is so liberal, he wouldn't even vote for Donald Trump over Hillary. Now Ahlquist wants to be governor. His plan? Raise taxes on everything, from farm equipment to haircuts. Top Democrat donor. Didn't vote for President Trump. Tax raiser. Boise developer Tommy Ahlquist can't be trusted.
Brad Little is a third-generation Idaho rancher who isn't afraid to stand up and fight for our conservative values. Brad Little is pro-life, pro-traditional marriage, and pro-Second Amendment. Brad Little believes in less government, lower taxes, and more freedom. Brad Little is the conservative champion we can trust. A rancher rancher, a conservative, a courageous leader. Brad Little will be the strong governor Idaho families need. Paid for by Brad Little for Governor. Vicki Risch, Treasurer.
And thank you very much. We have a full plate today, and I'm kind of running solo here this morning. My lovely bride really is sick this morning, and I want to extend to her the best of wishes to get better. And you don't appreciate somebody until they're not right there to help you and get the cause completed. And boy, I've had a comeuppance this morning trying to get everything organized for the program, get everything done, and I really want to give her get well wishes, my lovely wife, Deanne. With that, we will say that we'll have more phone calls at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind everybody, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and the number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. All your heating, cooling time coming up, and electrical needs right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And don't forget, too, they're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, serving you, and they've got everything and the knowledge to get the job done at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Thank you. Another quick note, everybody gets hungry, and everybody is looking for great food. Well, I'll tell you what, look no further than Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. Oh, it is so true, America's Diner. Boy, we have a good time in there at Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and we stop in many other times during the month. You should, too. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all the time, anytime. And believe me, friendly people, great food on the menu. You're going to love it. You're going to say thank you. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. It is America's Diner. There are some things that are really bothering me this morning in regards to a forced acceptance of those coming into our country illegally. And about maybe 7:20 this morning on my cell phone, which I give out freely to have people call if they have anything they want to mention on the radio or whatever. And I had a call. And this caller basically referred to some of my statements as bigoted, hate-filled, and selfish. Now, I will not give credence to the person. I won't say male or female. I won't mention name. This person didn't have the guts to give me a name. But basically calling me a bigot and a hate monger, and hate-filled, pardon me, and selfish. The selfish part really got to me because the selfish was in regards to my attitude of, no, illegal aliens, wait a minute, there are people waiting legally to come through the line and become American citizens or be accepted into this country. And the push and shove attitude by the illegals is growing in numbers to the point where they're making demands, even with California legislators. And I want to emphasize this. There is a gentleman leading the charge in California through their legislative session to allow a bill that would let illegal aliens be voted into city and county positions of power. Now, come on, folks, mull this over. Is our country going to absolutely be decimated in its power and strength by legal citizenry and legal taxpayers with these kind of kooks, crackpots, and whatever trying to pass laws that, come on in, y'all, whatever you want to do, it's fine. We're going to put you in office so that you have more political clout and power to vote for the idiocy of illegal aliens. More, come on in, everybody, into this country. When are we going to stand up and say enough is enough? And there are new citizens here that they want to call themselves citizens. They call themselves immigrants. They broke the law to get here. They are illegal. And I noticed in the paper this morning, and I'm really getting on this morning, is that many of the, they call, immigration groups they're not, they're illegal aliens, are saying that President Donald Trump's administration has become almost everything they feared, and they're going to do all they can for more immigrant rights. Why is it that the news media and the late-night talk shows call these people immigrants? They are not immigrants. They're illegal aliens that have crashed the party, came across our borders illegally, and are here, and they're putting their arms across their chest and saying, hey, buddy, what are you going to do about it? I want your money. I want this. I want that. I'm going to become politically active. You can't do a thing about it, citizen of the United States. Caller, I'll be right with you. I'm so doggone upset about this morning. Stand by. I want to remind you that Kevin Williams asking for your vote on May 15th, running for State Representative, District 27. Kevin is pro-Second Amendment and believes in the private ownership of guns. Kevin is pro-teacher support and education, and he's very supportive of our police and ag economy. Fresh new ideas for a stronger, more productive Idaho, paid for by Kevin Williams for State Representative, District 27. Kevin Williams, Treasurer. Also want to remind you, too, we've got a lot of great politicals that are running for office, and here's another one. Leonard Beck wants your vote on May 15th to be your District 1 Cassia County Commissioner. Leonard will be your voice for economic growth, protecting property rights, and helping promote education and job opportunities for our youth. Leonard Beck, a lifelong resident of Cassia County, wants to be a strong voice for you. Vote Leonard Beck for Cassia County Commissioner May 15th, paid for by the committee to elect Leonard Beck, Devon Rucker, Treasurer. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, it's just so funny that people could be as stupid as the people are in California on purpose. I can't help but think that they're just trying to upset everybody else so that they can go their own way, and I don't have a problem with them breaking away from the United States. They're just a pain in everybody here's butt.
The problem is, though, sir, they're not going to break away. They're not going to break away from the money that is available to afford them the luxury of acting stupid. And I don't think you're going to see that vote where they're going to go to one or three separate countries. I don't think we're going to see it at all. But aren't you concerned, and by the way, Wheels, we've got tremendous feedback on this call. Aren't you concerned, like I am, that when you have a legislator that supposedly takes an oath of office to uphold the Constitution of the United States, he or she breaks it, and then they want to push for laws to let illegal aliens hold political offices? This is insanity.
Oh, yes, it is. I've got a lot of relatives down there in that area that are, like almond farmers and stuff like that, and they're all conservative people. I just don't know where these people that vote for this or think this way come from.
You want to hear something really weird? Listen to this, and it's about what they call, quote-unquote, immigrant rights. Now, remember, I do not believe, and I'll stand up against anybody, that an illegal alien person has any rights whatsoever in this country. But now they've got Angela Satas, that's the executive director for the Coalition of Humane Immigrant Rights in California, and she said that she's very concerned that their ability to remain free in this country might be in question. What? They shouldn't be here. They dang sure ought to be worried about remaining free. What are your thoughts to that?
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, the word illegal describes it perfectly. They aren't immigrants, they are illegal. And they're coming in here and crossing our border, and there's no reason they should be here at all. And they shouldn't have any rights at all in this country.
What happens in California, and I've said this before and I think you'll agree with me, what happens in California will have a cancerous growth across not only the United States, but especially in states like Oregon and Washington, severely liberal states that'll jump on the bandwagon, and little by little we're going to see eroding of any common sense whatsoever and the complete destroying of what it means to be a citizen of this country.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%.
Thank you for your call this morning. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. What about you folks out in the audience? I mean, my goodness. Illegal aliens coming into this country. Now, I'm the bad guy. I'm selfish? I'm not at all selfish, and I take great offense at that. I try to do as much as I can through this program to help others, other entities, other groups, and other individuals. And when somebody calls me on the phone and says that I'm a selfish human being for not wanting the laws to be destroyed, our borders to be destroyed, and then they will turn around and ask me and others like me, you and everybody, to support them in their cause of illegality, I am damn mad about this morning. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Palmer L Place. Caller, I'll be right with you. Palmer L Place, a place for senior living. And I'm really concerned about our seniors that are living alone, and not only the loneliness and the isolation, but also the safety hazards and the poor nutrition, especially if you cook like I do, and missed medication. All of this and more you need to be very concerned about. So check it out today. Senior Living at Palmer L Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. And the number to call, 677-8212. I'll repeat that number again, 677-8212. Palmer L Place, a place for senior living. Right there in a minute, caller. Don't forget, too, our friends at Dino Septic Service. I can think of some great things to tell the Democrats about the septic service. Anyway, Dino Septic Service in Rupert. Don't forget, septic tanks, pumps, septic tanks, and drain fields installed, backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, and they do the job that you and I don't want to do. No, I'm telling you, and they do it very well. Fast, fair, friendly service. They are there. They get the job done. Call them at 436-6526 or 678-1638. Dino Septic Service in Rupert, waiting for your call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Good morning again. You know, in the lifetime of me, which is a short 80 years old, I've never, ever seen one of our presidents have so much on his plate. He's got North Korea, he's got Iran, he's got the battle he's fighting with the, what do you call them?
Well, Keith, right now, I'm not concerned about anything. Wait a minute, Keith. I'm sticking with immigration this morning and illegal aliens. I don't want to get off track on that. Unless you've got a point about President Trump and illegal aliens, go ahead and make your point on that quickly.
Oh, my point is that they're illegal aliens. They're not immigrants. They are not supposed to be allowed in the United States. But this idea of setting their toe on American soil and automatically have all these rights, that is so doggone wrong. And what is wrong with Congress not getting right to work on this?
Well, you're spot on, but I'm starting to think that we have a nation of cowards that are sitting on leather chairs behind wooden desks in the Senate and the Congress, and they're not doing their job. They're afraid of the backlash. They're afraid of somebody coming up to them and saying, "Oh, you're trying to hurt illegal aliens and you're trying to hurt immigrants." I'm fed up with it, and I'm making a demand to all people that are working for us in any capacity, in any form of the legislature or whatever. Stand up, get a backbone, and do your job for the majority, the plurality of the people that don't want this problem to exist.
You know, there was one little clip on TV this morning. This woman had 6 children with her, and she's wanting to come to America. My goodness. What are we going to do with them?
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to end up paying for them. We're going to end up paying through the nose. Yes. And I hear these bleeding heart liberals, a lot of them in Twin Falls and other areas. That's where that one call came from this morning that really bugs me, is that, oh, well, come on, we've got deep pockets. We can take everybody in. You know, Frosty Woolridge said it best in one of his statements in one of his writings. How can Americans pull in the same direction when over 100 million illegal aliens and immigrants are pulling in other directions? And that kind of sums up the whole problem.
It certainly does. And these people, that wall that they show on TV Has it got cleats on and everything so people can climb?
I don't know. I don't want to get into the mechanics of the wall because I don't know, but all I'm saying is they should be taking fire hoses and washing them off the wall. Keith, I appreciate your call as always. Thank you very much. Thank you. Caller number 2, I'll be right there. Don't go away. I'm really teed off this morning, and I'm basically looking for a verbal argument. Maybe you'll give me one. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, and they can help you recoup from an accident or surgery or whatever. Believe me, they know what to do with all the different exercises, etc., and they have the best of physical therapists. All you need to do is go and make an appointment, 678-1191, and believe me, they've got that great hydrotherapy pool helping you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation in Burley, absolutely, and I don't say this lightly, the best in serving you. Real quick, too, I've got one other ad. Quickly, caller, I'll be right there. I'm running in circles here this morning. Oh, I missed Deanne. May 15th, re-elect Tim Darrington as Cassia County Commissioner, District 3. Tim knows that Cassia County has a lot to offer with its heritage and history, and he wants to help move the county forward. And Tim Darrington has been very involved with the county policies on reimbursement and updating Cassia's software. Re-elect Tim Darrington as Cassia County Commissioner, District 3 on May 15th. Paid for by Darrington for Commissioner, Gail Erickson, Treasurer. Caller, good morning. Thank you for your patience.
Well, good morning, Zeb. I'll argue with you and have a friendly discussion, but not about this.
All right, go ahead.
I agree with you on this. It's really frustrating to me, and you know how I feel about our veterans. We have veterans who have paperwork, medals, documentation. They actually serve living in boxes and cars and on the sidewalks. When they want to bring in these people from other countries who don't belong here, they don't have to be here. We don't want them here, and putting them in housing and giving them food and everything else. Well, we got our heroes, the heroes of our own country, doing without. And that breaks my heart to know that that there are people out there in our own country who would rather put illegal immigrants ahead of our veterans and ahead of those who made this country what it is and gave up almost everything for it. And it's just really upsetting.
I think you have summed up my thoughts 1,000%. And I salute you for that, because we have got so many economic pitfalls in this country that need to be addressed. I don't care if it's the homeless situation, if it's the drug situation in this country with the opioids or whatever. You are spot on, Riley, and I compliment you on that thought.
I do not, never, ever, ever have had a problem with people coming to this country and being a part of this country, coming from another country saying, I want to be an American. I want to make a better life for myself and my family. And America is the place to do it because of the opportunities and the great country that it is and what it provides for its citizens. I want that. And they do it legally. I do not have a problem with that at all.
I absolutely concur with that. I agree with you 100%, but now the left is absolutely wanting to twist, distort, and rewrite the laws, all in the favor of illegality. Thank you. I got another call waiting. Thanks, Riley.
Talk to you later.
Once again, Wheels, we're getting a little hum and feedback on that line during these calls. I'm going to ask you, please, stay tuned, caller. I'll be right there. Yours truly. I've got to catch up on what should have been done 10 minutes ago. Don't forget, when you get a good man for the job and he's doing the job for you, why would you even think about replacing him? You won't, because I'll guarantee you we've got a good man for the job in District 27, and that's re-elect Representative Fred Wood on May 15th. Integrity serving you. Remember that when you go to the polls on May 15th, vote for Fred Wood for District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood. Steve Westfall, Treasurer. Caller, quickly, go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
The bunch that's invading our country is going to turn our cities into nothing more than tent city slums. And it's coming. You can take one look at what's going on just near the border where all this thousands of people are situated.
You know, what you're saying about the homeless and some of the... I got to tell you something. I know it's during the breakfast time this morning, but last night when I was watching some of the newscasts about some of the homeless in L.A. and San Francisco and other places, living, if you want to call it that, in the subway tunnels, etc., the filth and the drugs and the needles, and I just can't even explain some of the things I saw on this video. It was so repulsive. Why can't we take the money that we're giving and expending on illegal aliens to come into this country and clean up our act? You know what I mean. We've got so many different facets of our economy and our society that are absolutely tipping off the cliff and going into the abyss. I don't want to have a bunch of illegal aliens coming in here and demanding the resources we should be doing and using to help American citizens.
We don't need them here. They're uneducated. They're overpopulating type of people, and they'll cause the cities to go broke. You and I will end up paying for these people until the day we die.
Well, there's no argument on my part. I am absolutely incensed. After I had that call that said I was a selfish American, you know me and my German temper, Tony. I'm still at the boiling point this morning.
Well, I don't know if this guy is a wealthy guy and he can afford to give up a large portion of his savings to support people that will contribute nothing to this country.
Well, I totally agree with you, and I thank you for your calls every day to bring forward some of the points we're talking about. Tony, God bless you, man. Thanks.
Keep on going, buddy.
I will. I won't quit. I promise. Caller, I hear another call on the line. I'm going to ask your indulgence. Stay with us. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox over in Rupert on the Square, and they're located at 530 East Street in Rupert. And don't forget they've got the best doggone restaurant and bakery, and they can bake all the cookies and the pies and the wedding cakes. Oh, my, they do a wonderful job. You're going to love it. Every Monday we give away cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. One more message. Idaho needs Nonini. Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor. Vote May 15th for proven effective conservative leadership. Bob Nonini has 25 years experience in local and state Republican politics. He believes in quality, affordable health care, parental choice in education, and wants to create a positive business climate with limited government involvement. Vote for Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor on May 15th, paid for by the committee, that is, to elect Bob Nonini Lieutenant Governor. Treasurer R. Scott Hogue. Caller, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Thank you.
Problem, sir. I understand. Hey, I got a question for all these people that are wanting to let these illegal aliens in and stuff like that. How many of you live in a gated community? And my question to you is, why live in a gated community? They can't answer that.
Well,
they want security.
Those that have the resources and the means to shelter themselves and basically protect themselves from the observances of what's going on in the real world are always the first ones I've found out in my career that raise a ruckus for the rest of us to accept the problem.
Yeah, okay. Well, my statement to them is, tear down your walls, take down your security gate, get rid of your security guards, and then let's talk about opening the border then. But until then, keep your mouth shut. If you're just a big hypocrite trying to force something on us that you think will work.
Well, wait a minute. I don't want the borders open. As a matter of fact, I want those borders so locked up with the channeling effect of when people, and again, Wills, we got feedback on the line, a channeling effect to the point where if you want to come to this country, you go through the different channels and right procedures. I welcome you with open arms to be a new citizen in this great United States. Unless that happens, I slam the door in your face and stay home.
Well, I agree with you there because you know they won't tear down their gates and get rid of their security guards. They'll never do that because then they won't feel safe.
That's right.
They're a bunch of hypocrites who are trying to tear this country down, turn it into a third world nation so we can have a one world order.
Yeah, but Doug, address this issue with this California legislator. that wants to have it become law in California, and then the other kooks and crackpots in other states will pick up on this, that an illegal alien, a non-citizen, could be voted into a position of power, whether it's in the city or the county or whatever. This is absolutely against our Constitution, against our value system. And are we just going to let the floodgates open up and anybody can come in and they can say what we're going to do as tax-paying citizens?
That's where lawsuits, that's where he should be arrested for not abiding by his oath of office to uphold the Constitution of the United States. I personally feel if someone gets elected in a public office, before they can even run, they have to take a test on the Constitution so they know what it means.
I'm not going to argue that point, but I am telling you, after I had that real short, sweet little phone call this morning that said I am a bigot and I'm selfish, that made me really upset. I'm not going to use the right terminology that I'd like to use this morning, but I don't consider myself at all to be selfish with the things and the resources that have been afforded to me, and I try every month to do as much as I can to help others, but I am absolutely drawing a line in the sand to these nincompoops that call themselves liberals, that absolutely want to open everything up, a one, all come, everybody, no borders attitude. I'm going to fight you, and I'm not going to quit.
I will too. And I've seen the other day where it says the definition of liberalism is a mental disorder.
Are you looking?
Does not know that there's only two genders. Thinks there's several genders, and you can be a cat or whatever. They have a mental disorder.
Well, I think it goes back to that slogan that I read this morning when I started the program, and I think you'll find very little to argue about this. It's really, really quite simple, say the Democrats. If Americans won't vote for Democrats, then the Democrats, will import people who will.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening. America is waking up. This Candace Owens, I love the way she started stirring the pot, and Kanye West, I'm proud of him for standing up and not backing down and like Shania Twain did, and still stand up for what he believes.
Well, when you have people like this, let me find her name again, Angelica Sadas, executive director of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights in Los Angeles, saying that they're so afraid that our immigrants, and they're not immigrants, they're illegal aliens, will not remain free in this country, and they're demanding more rights for their so-called immigrants that aren't because they're illegal aliens. The press and the media are taking their side to where we as citizens are in the wrong, and we're the haters, and they're the rights because they want more. They want what you and I have, but they don't want to work for it.
Yes, and I feel that falls right on Jeff Sessions. There are laws. If you aid and abet an illegal alien, it is a felony. It is time in prison. And if the illegal alien kills somebody, it is a longer time in prison. I wish our Attorney General would stand up, tell these people, here's the law, folks. You want to break it, we're coming after you.
I couldn't agree more. I really am upset about this issue this morning because I don't think Americans are doing the due diligence to stand up and be counted and fight back. They're like sponges. They're just absorbing the problem.
Exactly. And that person that called you this morning, I'd like to let him look in the mirror. You just look in the mirror, buddy, or ma'am, or whoever you are, and tell me what you see. Do you see a person that is honest? Do you see a Christian person there that believes in the Bible? It says take care of your enemy. It doesn't say let your enemy in your house.
That's right. Doug, always appreciate your call, and of course, as Doug normally says, and I'm going to jump in and help him, support the senior centers, right, Doug?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Support them. Do what you can for them. Remember, their sweat and their hard work built this country that we are enjoying.
Amen.
It's time for us to take care of them.
Amen. Thank you, Doug. God bless you, man. Thanks. I got to pay some bills here real quick, and I want to remind everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental. Oh, yes, at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan, and I believe he's going to be on the program tomorrow, along with another address at 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls. Hello, Eli, and the Nampa location. They are serving you with all the equipment rental, sales, service, parts, everything, and oh my, your lawn's getting a little long out there, isn't it, Bunky? Well, you better stop in and check out all the Walker lawnmowers. Woo! They mow up a storm, and you're going to have a good time doing it, too. Barry Equipment and Rental. Equipment rentals, retail equipment sales. 3 locations, Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Barry Equipment and Rental. Also, I talked to my good friend this morning, Joe Bennett. About an hour ago, as a matter of fact, and they got a big sale coming up at the Filer Fairgrounds, Twin Falls County Fairgrounds, this Saturday at 10 a.m. It's the Southside Community Auction. It's an open consignment auction, and the Bennett boys are handling this sale. They're going to have, let's see, they got grain combines, tractors, farm equipment, pickups, stock trailers, lots of sporting goods, really good fishing equipment, guns, and this is going to be on Saturday at the Filer Fairgrounds at 10 o'clock. They're going to bring the gavel down, the Southside Community Auction, and it's put on by the Bennett boys. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett boys, they sell them all. Absolutely. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There's something else to worry about this morning, and like I said, I had limited news and resources this morning. My lovely bride not feeling very well, and I just want to wish her the best and get better, honey. We don't like to hear that you're not feeling good. Facebook is going to be including, now this is kind of scary to me, Facebook is now going to start including a speech button. Yeah. If you think you're hearing someone else's speech, like maybe me right now, that is hate speech, record them, and then Facebook will decide if it's hate speech? What? Facebook is going to become the judge, jury, and executioner, if you will, about speech? Whoa, wait a minute. Evidently, the left has forgot that there is free speech in this country. Evidently, they've forgotten that there are 2 issues on whether it's the pro or the con on every article or discussion. But now they, Facebook, are going to include a speech button. And then they, Facebook, will deem whether it is legal or illegal. And you know what they're also going to do? I was reading this part of the story, is that they're also going to rank the news for what they consider to be accurate and really rightfully to be heard. What? So, in essence, they might take a story that Fox News carries, and they're going to say, no, we don't like right-wing or conservative values, so we're going to discard that one. We don't want the public to hear it. And they're going to now be the defining judge as to what is acceptable or not. They can tweak what's going to be said or heard, and then they're going to make an opinion or define what the news is, good, bad, or ugly. I don't like that at all in a free society, and you should not either. More scariness going on every day. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And right now, this good word for Fred Wood, and then we're going to go to the weather.
Re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. Here's Fred's views on money and politics.
Zeb, 85% of Idaho citizens believe we should have more financial transparency and disclosure in our political system. As chairman of the Interim Committee on Campaign Finance Reform, I will continue to work tirelessly to bring real transparency and disclosure to money and politics in Idaho.
Vote May 15th. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. And right now it's time for the weather with Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they really care about your hearing health. And if you've noticed a diminishment in your hearing, I urge you to give them a call, make an appointment at 312-0957. They are located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. That number again, please call 312-0957. Here's the weather.
It's going to be a nice one today. Sunny skies is in the forecast. We are expecting a high of 64 and slightly breezy winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, expect mostly clear skies with a low of 39. Tomorrow, again, another beautiful day. Sunny and a high of 70, mostly clear for tomorrow night. Winds are going to be out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour, expecting a low of 43. For Friday, even better. Sunny skies, high of 76. Saturday, partly sunny and 78. By Sunday, partly sunny and 77. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, thank you. Well done. And, that warmer temperature sounds good. Get outside, sit in a chair, and just bask in the sun rays. I'll tell you what. Don't forget, for your hearing health, the only independent, locally owned hearing health care practice in southern Idaho is Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. These two wonderful doctors, Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell, serving you. Make an appointment today at 312-0957. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
I think that we've digested and discussed this, and we will be until we die, about who is able to come into our country simply by walking in or who needs to come in by permission. And I think that American citizens need to just put up they just got to get active in this. You cannot just walk into any other country in the world, even Canada. You would think you could go in there. We're pretty good friends. If you want to go to Alaska and go across Canada, that doesn't matter. You stop and you tell them who you are and where you're going. Why does the United States need to be the exception?
I can't answer that question. I guess the only thing that you and I can both agree on this point is that lawlessness, a lack of respect for our Constitution and the order that our forefathers reigned supreme for this country, is gone. It's been trashed. People on the liberal side of things say, let's forget it. We're just going to walk all over the other people and just do it our way. What else can I say?
Yeah. Well, and I even really blame a lot of it on the school teachers, on the school system, because, the teachers, they're used to being kind and they're inclusive and they really want their children the students that they talk to, they want them to be great Americans and loving and welcoming. And I think that the parents need to start waking up. And I love all of the school teachers I know and some that I don't know. But anyway, we have got to have rules. I traveled in Europe, and every time you crossed another foreign nation that wasn't the one you were just coming from, you had to get out and show your ID and your passport.
Right.
And then they would smile and say, oh, golly, more money coming our way.
Yep.
But anyway, it's still... You cannot cross a border in Europe anywhere. How easy it is it to just drive into Mexico and go clear to the bottom of the country? You are not going to get very far if you don't have ID and permission.
Chris, let me ask you another part of this discussion this morning. Now, I can't remember, I'm an old man, but what political office did you run for a couple of years ago?
What?
I said, what political office did you run for a couple of years ago?
Oh, it was a county office.
All right.
I can't even remember.
Okay, but now let me ask you this. If your position that you were running for was in the state of California, and you were running and paying your hard-earned dollars through your committee funding to go and win that respective seat, and you got beat because an illegal alien was allowed to run, what would your feelings be as a citizen of this country getting beat by an illegal alien?
Well, it's illegal.
Yeah.
The state of California should have said, no, you can't even run, period.
There you go. I mean, this is insanity. It's absolutely insanity. I got to run with another call, but
I think there's something in the California water.
I think you're 100% right. Thank you, Chris. God bless you. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. I want everybody to remember, too, Representative Clark Kaufman. Easy for me to say if I don't bite my tongue. Representative Clark Kaufman. I'm going to try it 3 times in a row, and then I'm going to go sit on the bench. Representative Clark Kaufman is running for re-election for state representative in District 25, Seat B. Kaufman believes in building consensus through common sense. He has voted to protect your Second Amendment rights, voted to promote fair and reasonable tax laws, and voted to create a business-friendly climate in Idaho. Vote Clark Kaufman on May 15th, paid for by Kaufman for Idaho State Representative, District 25, Seat B, Debbie Kaufman, Treasurer. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. It's only 3.5 hours till it's lunchtime at Senior Junction on South Overland. Now, today we're having turkey and dressing, mashed taters and gravy and all the trimming and dessert, more than you can eat almost. And I want to invite in everybody out there. You don't have to be a senior to come, and we need your support.
Well,
thank you for
Joe,
what you do for the seniors.
Joe, God bless you, man. I know you are the #1 cheerleader for the senior citizen and Senior Junction. God bless you, and I hope everybody shows up at the Senior Junction. Turkey and all the trimmings. Thanks, Joe.
Have a good one.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, in more things to worry about, the insanity of liberalism and how it's absolutely growing and festering like a cancer, Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York, is signing an edict now. I believe it's going to go into effect either this month or soon. I didn't get all the story material on this morning. The person I was talking to back in New York, I had another call come in, and I had to take that call. But now they're passing the legislation, according to Bill de Blasio and the city, the mayor, that no more can you refer to firemen or policemen or postmen or whatever. They're scratching that, and they're going to be replacing it with other names and pronouns like post person, fire person, etc. And I don't know for a fact, but I've heard a rumor that they even want to impose some kind of a civic fine, that if you say it the wrong way, the word police are going to get you and you have to kick into the coffers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. A little pause. Am I on?
I hope so. I'm listening to you.
Okay, I'm getting a beeping. I apologize for that. On a positive note, all the problems we have, I think our main problem is a spiritual problem in this country. But I got an email, and there's a Dollinger. And maybe you know this, but anyway, there's a Dollinger, and he's an ex-NBA. He says he's a pro athlete with bad knees, Christian. And he is leading a class of up to an hour to 90 minutes, I think maybe 3 times a week, but at least once a week, in the White House. Have you heard that?
I have not, and I would appreciate. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'm almost out of time in this hour, and I wished I had more time to discuss it. I would like you to send me the information, if you could, so I can discuss it on tomorrow morning's first hour. Send it to my email, zebattheranch@hotmail.com.
Zeb, I'm computer illiterate.
Well, I tell you what, I'll do you one better. Hold on. I'm almost out of time, so call me after the program on my cell phone at 312-2976 and tell me what you know, and then I'll look it up, okay?
Like I said, I'm literate a lot of ways. Give me that number one more time.
312-2976.
Okay.
All right, sir. I got to run. Thank you very, very much. I'll do some checking on that. Hey, get road trip ready. And when I say road trip ready, I mean drive safely with the best of tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Listen, if you've got an SUV, how about the Terramax HT or the Backcountry Touring HT? Or for your cars, how about the Ultra Z900? Oh, my. Get ready for road trip. And, of course, they've got the best tire value promise in the industry. You better believe it. You stop in and see any one of the 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They can and they will help you with the best of brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all this and more. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Nope. Nobody better. No way. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. This good word right now for Tommy Ahlquist, and then Wheels will take us up to CBS News. Oh my. Good morning. Hour number 2 on this May 2. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations say, get ready for a road trip with the best of tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Yep. Helping you get back to being you. Right now, Wheels is ready with this good word for Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services. We talked yesterday about the dumpsters, and I've always said if you want to have the best of garbage pickup on the route service, they are like right on time all the time. Western Waste Services. Give them a call today. Tell them where you are. They'll be there. 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. Right now, this good word for Brad Little.
Can we trust Boise developer Tommy Ahlquist? When Obama and Pelosi were trying to grab our guns, Ahlquist was one of the Democrats' top donors in Idaho. Tommy Ahlquist is so liberal, he wouldn't even vote for Donald Trump over Hillary. Now Ahlquist wants to be governor. His plan? Raise taxes on everything, from farm equipment to haircuts. Top Democrat donor. Didn't vote for President Trump. Tax raiser. Boise developer Tommy Ahlquist can't be trusted.
Brad Little is a third-generation Idaho rancher who isn't afraid to stand up and fight for our conservative values. Brad Little is pro-life, pro-traditional marriage, and pro-Second Amendment. Brad Little believes in less government, lower taxes, and more freedom. Brad Little is the conservative champion we can trust. A rancher, a conservative, a courageous leader. Brad Little will be the strong governor Idaho families need. Paid for by Brad Little for Governor, Vicki Risch, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. And also, don't forget, tomorrow at 9:17, we have our weekly segment with our dear friends at Cassia Regional Hospital for the best in medicine and the best in care. Your friends, your neighbors at Cassia Regional Hospital. Be tuned in tomorrow morning at 9:17 and learn more about the people and all the services. Quality care close to home at Cassia Regional Hospital. Want to also remind you that Roger Morley wants your vote on May 15th to re-elect him to the Jerome County Commission, District 3. Roger Morley has always said, yes, we can when it comes to being pro-Jerome County. He understands local folks and local problems and wants to continue to work for Jerome County with a pro-jobs, pro-agriculture, pro-people attitude. Don't forget, re-elect Roger Morley on District 3, Jerome County Commission, May 15th, paid for by the committee to re-elect Roger Morley, Jerome County Commissioner, Lorraine Morley, Treasurer. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And a dear friend from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I will say that instead of the check is in the mail, the case is in the mail. Good morning, Dave Beagle. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
Well, I've felt better. I've had this cold now lingering for about 3 weeks in the old chest, and I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to getting rid of it. But really, the unfortunate thing is Deanne has got it, and she's twice as bad as I am, and we wish her the best.
Well, that's too bad. Hope you both get feeling better. Drink a little wine. It'll help you.
Well, that's why yours is not in the mail. I kept it. Dave, I got to ask you something. There's so much in the news that we can talk about. There's a never-ending supply of idiot left-wing things happening. But what is this with the Boy Scouts taking away the name boy, and now they're going to just be called the Scouts, and they're going to entertain having the girls come in with the Boy Scouts, or the boys? I think this is a slap in the face to the great people and great women leadership of the Girl Scouts over the many, many years. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I just think this is another piece of the agenda for the left to bring down this country, and and they want to make everybody common and things, and they're for homosexuality and LGBT and all that kind of stuff, and they're doing all this just to really, at the end of the day, to divide us and get us all against each other, and and educate people, especially young kids, in the wrong way, so that they believe in socialism and communism as they grow up. And I just believe that's what this whole agenda is about.
No, I agree with you. I think it's nothing more than a furtherance of a unisex society. I think it's a destruction of our moral and family values. I'm going to fight it. I'm going to denigrate them. I used to support the Boy Scouts and all of their activities that were going on this program. I will not in the future. I think it's a disgrace what they've done, I think, to hurt the Girl Scouts. They're known for their cookie campaign, etc. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous for a melting together of two groups that I don't think should ever be together.
Well, I agree. And, interesting thing is I got to get together with my uncle here pretty soon because he ran the regional Boy Scouts here in Indianapolis for years, and I really want to sit down and talk to him and quiz him on what his thoughts are on this whole thing. And I'm sure it'll be ugly because he won't be very happy.
Dave, what about the unions involved in what's going on with the illegal aliens and their employment or their giveaway programs? Or now there's a major move not to call them illegal aliens anymore. They are immigrants. No, they're not. They're illegal aliens. They came here illegally. That's how we're going to refer to them. Where are the unions coming in on these stories?
Well, before we get started on this, I hear that you've been called a bigot over this stuff. And,
oh, boy, yeah.
But you're not. The truth is we're a nation of laws, and, we should protect our laws and our nation and our country and our border, and people from coming across bringing drugs and illegal guns and other things across, that terrorists and all that could hurt our country and hurt the people in this country. But as far as the unions are behind the Democratic Party, who is the ones behind this because they want these people to vote. And as I wrote in a blog several years ago, and it happened in Utah, the SEIU was taking illegals to the voting booths and letting them vote because they were controlling the voting booths too to get Harry Reid reelected when he was 5 or 6 points down going into the election day. And that's what they do in California and other places across the country. And that's what this is all about. And eventually, the unions see these people becoming actual working citizens, not independent contractors, and then they unionize them.
Well,
so, this is all about a political agenda.
Absolutely. You know, in the beginning of the program, I've said this twice already, but I want to read it for your benefit and have you respond to it. I found this note yesterday in one of the newspaper articles I was thumbing through, and I give person that wrote this a lot of credit for having the guts to put it out there. He said it's really quite simple, say the Democrats. If Americans won't vote for Democrats, then they, the Democrats, will import people who will. There's a lot of common sense there.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it's all about. And, of course, you know, the unions are behind the Democrats because the Democrats will change laws and regulations to help unions build their membership back by, you know, forcing people to become union members and all that. And then, of course, the dues money, the unions use probably 45% of that for politics and 95% of that to the Democratic Party. So it's a win share type of thing. You know, it's a vicious circle that's going on with the Democrats and the unions.
Well, you said something a minute ago that I think needs to be elaborated on, and it goes right with the story that I heard out of California. There's a California representative that wants to have a law passed in the state of California that would allow illegal aliens to be voted in for city and county positions of power. And I'm scratching my head and tearing my hair out going, what kind of lunacy is this?
Yep, it's all about power, and the Democrats and the unions both see that they've been down in a spiral, and especially with the elections coming up in November, they're going to do everything they can to get control back of their states, the House, the Senate, and eventually the presidency.
Yeah, but Dave, I mean, if they pass such a stupid, absolutely asinine, uneducated, frivolous law in the state of California that would allow something like that, I mean, you've just taken the Constitution and the values of citizenship and legal citizenship and thrown them in the toilet and flushed it. Every citizen should be uproared about this.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. America needs to wake up because, again, and people probably get tired of hearing me saying this, but the ultimate goal is to bring down this country and make it a socialist, communistic country, and that's what they're trying to do, and this is all part of it.
Well, you know more about the unions than I do, but I have been very cautious and wary. I mentioned it to you last week on the program that I haven't heard too much about them. They've been kind of like a snake laying in the weeds, and I'm very concerned that all of a sudden they're waiting for the right opportunity, the right timing, if you will, to push certain buttons, and then, whoa, Katie barred the door. That's my feeling about the unions in this country.
Well, it's actually going on behind the scenes, and it's they're going back to their old tactics like they used against me, corporate campaigns, death by 1,000 cuts to force unionize companies and their employees. And it's interesting, I've been to several meetings in the past week, and in fact I was at one yesterday and talking to a couple guys that were in the steel industry, and they said the unions are just getting worse and pushing harder, and I was at another meeting. Vice President Pence was in town last Thursday, and I was at a meeting with him and some other people. And I had a couple guys come up to me that owned companies, and they said the unions are just attacking them, and they're using the same type of tactics they use against me and my company with the SEIU. And they said it's going on everywhere, but they're keeping it quiet this time. They're trying to keep it out of the press. But they're trying to intimidate these people and force unionize them to, no election process and stuff like that. And it's going to get worse, Zeb. It's going to get worse.
I agree. Dave, stay tuned just for a minute. I've got to get a commercial break in here, and I'll be right back with Dave Bego. Kent Searle wants your vote to become District 3 Cassia County Commissioner on May 15th. Kent Searle, lifelong resident of Cassia County, has the experience of being a farmer and a dairyman and serving you as an EMT and a first responder, and has gained your trust serving on the Ag Advisory Committee and the Gateway Powerline Committee. Kent Searle says, together we can make Cassia even better. Kent Searle for District 3 Cassia County Commissioner on May 15th. Dan Gammon, Treasurer. Also want to remind you quickly about our friends at Hanson Mortuary with our dear friend Joel Heward, his staff, and his family, always serving you at 710 6th Street in Rupert. When there's the passing of a loved one, like I say, it's a very tumultuous time. They can and will help you always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please write the number down and call 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert with Joel Heward, and Joel also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Dave, I've got something else that really is scary to me, and that's a story I heard about this morning and did a little bit of inquiry. Facebook, something that I've been real leery about getting involved in, is going to develop and include a speech button. And if you deem someone's speech hate speech, record it for them, and Facebook is going to decide if it's hate. Whoa! Doesn't that bother you a little bit?
Oh yeah, because people use that to attack people, and they talk about that this is all about freedom of expression across the country, and but really what it is their idea of political correctness, and they let people say whatever they want to say, even if they're wreaking havoc on other people, and that's just I don't know. I just have a real problem with it, and it's. Again, it's sad what's going on in this country right now.
Well, the other part that they said this morning I was listening to is that they, Facebook, want to define what is good news or bad news, what is just a blatant opinion or a defining part of the news, and they're going to be, again, the judge, jury, and executioner as to what goes out as, yes, that is good news. Oh, in a free society, we should all be very outraged.
Well, that's exactly right, and it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. I think Facebook, before it's over with, is going to see a drop in membership because people are going to get tired of putting up with it. And I know, in other areas, like on Amazon, I know some guys that have written books, and their books aren't compatible with Amazon's Outlook, and they won't allow good comments to be made on those people's books.
Really?
That's sad. It really is.
Do you mean to tell me that they are already doing this censoring? Like if Dave Bego wrote another book, you'd be very concerned about the censoring or the stymieing of your word through your book? I mean, I absolutely find this appalling.
Well, it could be, and I've had 2 or 3 guys tell me about this, and they've tried to put comments up on it, and Amazon won't allow it to happen anymore, and because they're talking about things going on in this country that they don't agree with, and the liberal left, and it's sad, and I think we're going to see more of this with Facebook and other online type of things.
Let me ask you about this. I know the city of New York is kind of out there in la-la land with Mayor Bill de Blasio, a man that seems to be born without any common sense or decency. Now they are really pushing for this, and I understand from a news story that I heard this morning from a friend of mine back in New York City that they even want to try to make it a fine if somebody refers to a policeman as a policeman, a fireman as a fireman, or a postman as a fireman, because they want to take gender neutrality and they want to take the words and make sure that it's either police person, fire person, or whatever, and you might be fined if you say it the wrong way. This is completely against our Constitution.
Well, it is, and again, this is the left agenda in that they try and go out and they put this stuff in people's heads, these lies and misinformation and all that, and they use these people to do these things. And again, at the end of the day, it's all done to divide us as a country and have us fight against each other and that. And that's what the SEIU tried to do with our employees and us and our customers and vendors and everything else. But we got together and we talked to everybody and sat down and talked to everybody and exposed what the real agenda was and the lies in that. And that's what has to happen in this country, to bring these people down and stop their agenda.
Okay, but now let's look at, I'm not trying to be negative when I say this, but I want to be ending on a positive note. What can we do? What are we not doing, or why is the bulk of the populace of the American public absorbing all this negativity and all this absolute insanity? Why aren't we fighting back? I mean, how do you light a fire under these people?
Well, it's tough to get people to stand up, but I have to tell you, Zeb, the more and more I'm out and talking to people on that, they're getting tired of this stuff, and especially when you talk to them. And in fact, I got a call from a guy the other day that he's in an organization that I'm involved in called Legatus, and he says, Dave, I want to talk to you about your book and what you say in your blogs and that. He says, this country is going downhill, and he says, we gotta inform people, and we got to get them back together. And I said, he says, I want a couple copies of your book. And I said, well, I'll be at the next Legatus meeting, and give you something. I said I spoke in front of Legatus and a couple of years ago, and a lot of people bought my books and that. He says, I know. He says, I know, but I got more people that need to know it and more people that want to know it. And he says, we got to get you back speaking again. And so I think people are waking up, Zeb. It's just taking a while.
Well, I hope and pray you're right. And I urge people, by the way, talking about your books, we haven't mentioned that in its entirety like we should. Give a little background about what's in the books, and there are 2 books. Give us a little explanation and tell us where the books can still be purchased.
Well, actually, the first book was rewritten into the second book, The Devil at Our Doorstep, and people can go to thedevilaourdoorstep.com, and they can buy the book on there at a discount, and they can read all my blogs, which after my second book came out, I learned more and more what's going on with the government and the left and that, and I really expose it, and I encourage people to do that. And but basically, the SEIU, who I found out, by the way, about 3 months after my second book came out, are communists. They march in the streets of California every year with the Communist Party, and I exposed in my book that President Obama was a member of them before he ran for president. And so you start connecting the dots, and people need to read this, because what they want to do is force unionize our people by taking away their rights to a secret ballot election and go to card check, which they get a bare majority, 50% plus 1 to sign a union card, and they're automatically unionized. And if I had signed the agreement, let them do this, a neutrality agreement, I also would have had to give a list of all my employees and their home addresses so they could go to their homes and intimidate and threaten them until they signed the cards. And I wouldn't do it, so they attacked us and used politicians against us, clergy people against us, little kids in our neighborhood, Halloween, rallies in all the major streets across the Midwest, smears in the press, OSHA complaints, unfair labor practices, tried to get our employees together and lied to them, followed them home and intimidated them. And 2.5-year battle, we beat them. And 3 days later, it was appealed to Washington, not by the federal government, but by not by SEIU, but by the federal government, because Andy Stern, the president of the SEIU at the time, knew President Obama, and we're pretty sure he called the White House. And they had it appealed to Washington. Another 14 months, I won in Washington 3-0 in front of the National Labor Relations Board. And that's right after that's when my second book came out, after I won in Washington. So I encourage people to read it, because I expose a lot what's going on in this country, and that the unions control the press, and that's why we don't hear good things in the press.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dave Bego, friend, author, business entrepreneur, thank you for being on the program, and I mean this. God's blessings to you and your family, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Dave.
Well, thanks, and I hope you and your wife get to feeling much better in the next day or 2.
I hope so. Thank you for the well wishes. God bless you. Talk to you next Wednesday. Thank you. Good friend Dave Bego, and I really appreciate him being on the program. By the way, I also want to remind you quickly about our friends at Ark Animal Hospital. Oh, yes, Dr. Bill and the crew at Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Oh, my goodness, they've been voted Minnecache's best veterinary hospital on number number of years. And believe me, don't forget to get your livestock dewormed before you turn them out to pasture, and get your pets vaccinated for flies and ticks. Oh, it's that season again. Check it out today. Ark Animal Hospital, a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all, at Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn, where they have warm hearts for cold noses. Call them at 678-1177. Wheels, we have to catch up a little bit. Let's have this good word for Bob Nonini.
Bob Nonini, candidate for lieutenant governor, a principled conservative, successful small business owner, legislator, and leader in Idaho. Bob Nonini has earned a 100% rating from the American Conservative Union and received an A+ rating from the National Rifle Association. Bob Nonini, Idaho roots, conservative values, proven results.
Hi, I'm Bob Nonini, and I'm passionate about becoming your next lieutenant governor. Being an Idaho native, I grew up understanding the values of hard work and dedication. Overzealous federal regulations have driven natural resource-based industries out of Idaho. As lieutenant governor, I will advocate for legislation allowing these industries to responsibly operate, providing jobs and continued economic growth. Idaho needs strong leaders who allow their faith, experience, and integrity to do what is necessary in creating a better life for our residents. Experience matters. Experience counts. The choice is clear. Idaho needs Nonini on May 15th.
Paid for by the committee to elect Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor.
And
Idaho Treasurer.
Thank you very much. And don't forget to Representative Clark Kaufman, a Filer area farmer and small businessman, is running for re-election for state representative in District 25, Seat B. Representative Kaufman's legislative committee experience includes the Revenue and Taxation Committee, Transportation and Defense Committee, and the Resources and Conservation Committee. And he has received a 100% voting score from the Idaho Water Users Association, and he urges everyone to register and vote Clark Kaufman on May 15th, paid for by Kaufman for Idaho State Representative for District 25, Seat B. Debbie Kaufman, Treasurer. Wheels, is that a call or is that my guess for this next segment?
That was a caller, sir.
Are they still on the line?
They are, yes.
I'm only going to have 30 seconds. Caller, real short, your point, please.
Hey, Zeb, the problem we're going to have at CSI with this gender-neutral bathroom is there will be problems, and they'll never be able to get out of CSI because of the left-wing newspaper that we've got in Twin Falls.
I can't argue. As a matter of fact, call during tomorrow in the first hour. We'll discuss that more in its entirety. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Zed.
Ladies and gentlemen, a good man that has used integrity and intelligence in serving you, and that's, of course, Representative Fred Wood for District 27. He wants your vote on May 15th. Re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. As I said, integrity serving you. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer. Real quick, before we go to our next guest, I also want to remind you, on Tuesdays, we have a program with Vicky's Country Garden. It's called Gardening for Idiots, named after me. And I'm getting better, though, by golly, and it's every Tuesday at 9:30, Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Don't forget, celebrating 21 years in business, Vicky's Country Garden. You stop in and see those good folks today. Talking about good folks to go see, I know I'm rambling here, but I got a lot of things to take care of. Don't forget our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Jeff and the whole crew, I mean, whether it is your carpeting or whether it's your floor coverings, whether it means going into their newly expanded sleep center, all the mattress buys, kitchen dinette sets, everything for you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley. They want to help you. They can help you. Spruce up for springtime at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more, 459 Overland in Burley. Wow. Let's go right now to the phone line, and I'll have another commercial break coming up in just a few moments. But I would like to say I thank him for his patience this morning, and we're on the line with a gentleman that wants to be reelected as Cassia County Commissioner in District 3. Hello, Tim Darrington. How are you?
Well, hello. I'm well, thank you.
Well, I'm glad to have you on the program, Tim, and I don't know if you're on a speakerphone or a cell phone. Which is it?
I'm on a speakerphone. Can you hear me okay?
No, turn the speakerphone off. I don't allow speakerphones on my program because they muffle too much, so go with the direct mouthpiece and it'll come across a lot better. I appreciate that.
Okay, I can barely hear you.
Well, I know, but I can hear you, and you're coming through absolutely 100%. Wheels ride the gain over there. Tim, you're running for re-election as Cassia County Commissioner in District 3. Why don't you give us a little breakdown as to what area of Cassia County that covers?
Well, actually, it covers basically all eastern Cassia County. You go from the highway through Burley clear to Oakley. It's basically about everything east of that. Now, some of that is in District 2 there, close to Burley, but everything else east is in my district.
All right. Now, Tim, I would imagine that Cassia County, being one of the largest counties in the state of Idaho, it's not easy being a county commissioner. Tell us a little bit about what you've had to do in the past as serving the public.
Well, I tell you, it's been really quite an experience. With that weather event we had last spring, oh my goodness, it just initiated me by fire, actually, because we were declaring disasters and whatnot, and it put me into a world of wow. And then I saw all the volunteerism that stepped up. It was just amazing to be part of that.
Okay, so you had baptism under fire, if you will, and why don't you tell the audience a little bit about Tim Darrington in case they don't know who you are, what you do, what your qualifications are. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, well, I'll tell you, in our board meeting last Monday, Ken Crane, our BLM representative, they come in and report once a month what they're doing, and he talked about the Milner area, and they're going to be putting in 2 miles of asphalt trails along in the Milner area. But he also talked about the vandalism that happened down there. And I was so disheartened when I hear that. The people desecrate our beautiful area that we do have. And I kind of left a little bit down on that. But, you know, last night I went to an FFA banquet, and I saw our youth. I was there with my grandson. And I tell you what, we are in good shape. Our future is in good hands, and seeing that. But I know a lot of times people in the area feel like nothing's being done for them. Well, we as Board of Commissioners, we're talking about them every day, and their concerns are our concerns, and they're the authority on everything. And so I'm willing to listen, and I entertain a lot of phone calls, and I respond very quickly to every phone call.
Tim, I
tell you, it's just a really rewarding thing to be able to do that. You know, we get into our law enforcement area, and I hear people say, well, where's our law enforcement? Well, I had a phone call, and this was from about a third party in the Elba area, and they said, where's our law enforcement? I called the sheriff. They were right there. They took care of the issue because they had a lot of people driving that highway really fast. And that's what people need to understand. All they have to do is call. We have a wonderful dispatch center. Call. They will respond, and if they don't respond in the time that you want them to, call again. And then it will be looked into as why they were so slow in responding. But, you know, we've got a great county here, and we rely on our department heads. The sheriff has a huge responsibility as our treasurer, our auditor, our assessor, and we rely on them to do their job. And we as commissioners, it's sometimes hard to understand what we really do. Well, we watch over the budget, and that is something that we take to heart very, very dearly. And I have an opinion that we always need to save a little bit of money and put it back for a rainy day, because those rainy days do come.
Absolutely. Tim, I'm going to back up a little bit because I want you to elaborate on it. I am one of the kind of people that when I see the vandalism and the absolute disrespect for public property and other people wanting to see something or use something and it's been vandalized, I don't think the laws are tough enough. Instead of just slapping them on the hand with a ruler, I think once they're found out, they should pay a criminal fine that's heavy enough to deter anybody else from doing it. What are your your thoughts? Are we not being tough enough on these people?
Well, the first thing of it is we need to be able to catch them. We need to understand why they're doing this. And, you know, you talk about we need to punish them. Our jail is full. It is full every day of the week. They are managing people in and out constantly. But, you know, yes, I feel like if vandalism is done, I want them to go clean it up themselves. And I want to have complete restitution. But that is a problem that we have to deal with all the time.
Well, I don't want to make any excuses for any of the badness, because the tax-paying public are the ones that have to foot the bill and pony up the money to make a cleanup on this, and I'm absolutely appalled by it.
Oh, it just makes me sick, and that's why I said I left that meeting. Just, isn't our fellow man better than that? And as to why, and I go beyond that, Zeb, I want to know why they would do such a thing, because, you know, our taxpayers, they absolutely are doing the best they can to have all these recreational things in our area, and we have a multitude of things to appreciate. And I think as a person gets older, you start appreciating that more. But for some reason, we have a few that think, oh, it's fun to go out and do this, and I absolutely do not make an excuse for them at all. I want complete restitution. Whenever vandalism is done on anything, why it's painted over very quickly or washed off. It's important to do that because I don't want that to reflect on our county.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tim, let me ask you, with Cassia County, and Wheels, ride that gain over there, please. With Cassia County, it looks like there are really some bright, sunny skies on the horizon for growth and businesses coming in. What are your thoughts on the future of growth in Cassia County?
Okay. You know, we are experiencing growing pains. I've said that repeatedly. We are. It's hard to deal with. We have a lot of big business wanting to come in. And like I said the other night at our forum, the first thing they want to do is come and have tax relief so they can come in. Well, that's wonderful. But, you know, I, as a business person, I don't get any relief from anybody. I want them to pay their fair share. I really do. But if we can ease the pain a little bit, I'm okay with that. But also, remember, like with urban renewal, we've got a lot of big business here in the county, and we are yet to receive the tax advantage of those big businesses coming in. We are still 6 years away from reaping the benefits. And so that is of great concern to me. Yes, it's wonderful for them to come in, but you think about it. Think about the amount of people it brings in. Well, all of a sudden it puts a burden on our schools. It puts a burden on our justice system, our health care. And so there's other things that come along with it. And then what about the roads? A lot of these firms demand huge amount of trucks that are going to travel our roads, and I'm really concerned about that. And so I am the chairman of our transportation group here. And we are currently working on a 10-year plan. And we are going to be sending out a questionnaire here when the assessment notices go out. And I would encourage the residents to fill that out and send it back in, because we want your thoughts, your concerns to be put forward.
Tim, we have a caller with a question for you, and I have limited time, caller, so make your question very precise. Go ahead, please.
Okay, here's the deal. Nothing's changed in the outer limits of Cassia County. Our roads still, they're the worst they've ever been. We never see a police force. The county has spent all our money that was designed to go to our roads somewhere else. And we up here are going to keep hiring a commissioner until they deal with our issues. Thank you very much.
Tim, go ahead and respond to the caller, if you would, please.
Yes, I know that caller very well. And, yes, we are responding to it. You know, in that particular area that he's talking about, we have put in a lot of input this last year. And, you know, with the weather event we've had tremendous amount of money come in from FEMA. You know, starting out with FEMA, I thought they're not going to help us at all. But, you know, when they first came in, hey, we're ready to write you out a check. And then we had all these hurricanes around the country, and they left. But they came back. And we are having a lot of money come into those areas, and the roads are being taken care of. and I stand behind that. And every road that we do out there, I have our supervisor out there. We want to build those roads back to ITD specs, and that's just what we do. And we are doing it. And I stand behind what's going on in our backcountry roads.
Tim, let me ask you this. What about goals, your own personal goals for Cassia County? And how do they play into your strengths as far as if you're reelected as a county commissioner?
Well, Zeb, I'm not here just to pat myself on the back about anything. But I think we have to be positive and be effective in the things that we do. Progress is made slow. It just is. The county wheel turns very slow, but it's very deliberate. Good things do happen, and I feel like we need to change with the times. And we are doing that in a lot of areas, especially in our county accounting system. We are putting in a new software program, and I think that's going to benefit us tremendously. It'll be a cost savings. And the things that we've done locally, there in the courthouse, we are saving money by changing things along the way. And I still want to go back to the road issue just a little bit. I feel like we, for some reason in that particular area, we can't seem to get it done right according to a few residents. But, I have others say the roads have never been better. And so I have a hard time with that one.
Okay, well, Tim, now let me ask you this. What about land issues in general with a booming economy and more people wanting to come into this area? Cassia County, by many, has been said to be kind of the promised land that they weren't even aware of. What are you going to do about land use, planning and zoning, and that type of thing for the future?
Okay, that's a good question. Planning and zoning is something that we really need to look at hard. I'm for streamlining anything, but also I want to keep planning and zoning. It was put there for a reason, and that's why you see all these dairies. They're scattered out like they are. They're not located tight with each other, and it's very, very important to keep control on growth. Growth is wonderful, but we need to have a control on that. I'll just give you an example. It's in another area, but a high school was built right next to a dairy. Well, the high school has a wonderful name, but the kids call it Cow Pie High. Now, I don't want that anywhere. I want us to have a controlled growth in all aspects of the county, and I want to be clear about how we do things. I want the neighbors, whoever the neighbor is to something that's coming in, to have their land rights respected. I want to have that. And I think we've got a great planning and zoning commission, and they are very, very good at what they do.
Let me ask you real quick, Tim. I've only got about 4 minutes left in this segment, if that. Your thoughts on the possibility of a new airport between Cassia and Minidoka County?
Yes, okay, on the airport. Well, I'll tell you what's going on with that right now is what I'll do. Right now, they are just completing the master plan of that airport. Now, after that, then an environmental study will happen of that. Now, the FAA has said they will pay 90% of the airport costs, 90%. Well, there's still a balance, and then there's still a maintenance to carry on throughout the years. Well, that's going to come back to the county if the county is willing to take that on. If the county were to take that on, I want that to be a county vote. I, as commissioner, don't want to make that decision. If the county wants an airport, I want the county to vote for an airport authority to say yes or no. And I feel like it's the citizens of Cassia County that needs to make that final decision.
All right. Tim, real quick, I've got about 30 seconds left. Tell everybody why they should vote for you for Cassia County Commissioner, District 3.
I can do that very quickly here. I'm a commissioner over the Fair Board, and with that comes the opportunity to ride in the Grand Entry, and you've seen that many, many times. Now, I've been a horse on quite a bit in my younger days, but when someone asked me, can the new guy ride? And I said, I hope that question was asked before rather than after. But I'm not I'm not the most polished or slickest guy, but I can get the job done, and I have. In the past 18 months, I've been on the job. We've seen a lot of positive changes. Thank you, Zeb.
I appreciate it. Tim Darrington, good luck to you on May 15th. Re-elect Tim Darrington for Cassia County Commissioner, District 3. He's been on our program this morning. Tim, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Right now, we're going to get to the weather forecast. Oh, we got a whole bunch more to take care of in a short time to do it. That sounds like Smokey and the Bandit to me. Ben Crouch wants your vote to become Jerome County District 1 County Commissioner. Ben Crouch says it's time for a fresh approach in Jerome County leadership, and he's the man for the job. Ben has the business knowledge and ability to solve problems, and his decisive leadership will help Jerome County. Vote for Ben Crouch, Jerome County Commission, District 1 on May 15th. Paid for by the committee to elect Ben Crouch Treasurer. Want to also say a big thank you to Let's Ride. Oh my goodness, yes, with all the four-wheelers and the side-by-sides, they've got it all, so you can just boom, 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 and get out and enjoy some great times in outdoor Idaho. That's right. Let's Ride, located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They've got a fantastic accessory department, and to keep you running and gunning, they've got a super service department too, so be sure and check it out. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 over by Rupert, and of course, this is where the fun is sold. Right now, if you would please, may we have this word for Fred Wood.
Re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. Here's Fred's views on water.
Zeb, without water, Idaho as we know it would not exist. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of salmon versus power production. As a senior member of the House Resources Committee, I will do everything within my power to stop downstream interests from taking Idaho's water.
Vote May 15th. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. Time for the weather, brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I'm really high on these folks. They do a wonderful job providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area and beyond for over 50 years. That's right. 2 locations to serve you, 1710 Overland and Burley and 650 5th Street in Rupert. Absolutely, they say thank you for your business during tax season, and they want to help you for the upcoming tax year. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's going to be a nice one today. Sunny skies is in the forecast. We are expecting a high of 64 and slightly breezy winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, expect mostly clear skies with a low of 39. Tomorrow, again, another beautiful day. Sunny and a high of 70, mostly clear for tomorrow night. Winds are going to be out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. Expecting a low of 43 for Friday, even better. Sunny skies, high of 76. Saturday, partly sunny and 78. By Sunday, partly sunny and 77. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you, Gina. Brought to people that really care about serving you, and that's Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Give them a call. Please make an appointment to go see how they can be of assistance to you with tax return preparation, tax planning, payroll services, retirement planning, and so much more. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Busy morning, and I still can't get rid of this doggone cough and cold. And again, I had some calls during the newscast, and people are well-wishing my wife to get better. I know she's really got it rough this morning, not feeling so good, so we wish her the very best. Want to also remind you about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Excellent professionals that are serving you. They are dedicated and very responsive to your needs. They want to help you with your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits. All of this and more. All you need to do is take the initiative to make the appointment at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. And, of course, let's not forget this gentleman's going to be on our program, I believe, next week, and that, of course, is Lee Hyder. He's running for re-election for State Senate Post, District 24. And the best always stand the test. And Lee Hyder, Senator, is one of the best. And he has really been working hard to serve you and help what's going to help the entire state of Idaho. Serving you, serving Idaho, that's Senator Lee Hyder, running for re-election and from District 24, paid for by Lee Hyder for the Senate, District 24. Holy smokes, I mean, we've had a lot of things going on here this morning, and coming up next hour, we've got a gentleman that I think you're really going to enjoy. His name is Tom Harris, and he is really going to throw the speech at the climate change Al Gore types this next half hour. I'm going to enjoy having him on the air. And then at 10:30, and we hope the reception will be good, we're expecting a call while he's traveling in his car, Lieutenant Governor Brad Little. And all I can say is my fingers are crossed, and I hope everything goes well. So that'll be at 10:30 this morning, and we're certainly looking forward to that. I want to remind you, too, that Lori Likely would like your vote as she's running for the Idaho House seat 25A. Lori is a fourth-generation ranching family, native Idahoan, and she was appointed by Governor Otter to the Beef Council from 2005 to 2011, former president of the Idaho Cattle Association. And I'll tell you what, this lady wants your vote to sit in the Idaho House seat 25A and serve you. Lori Likely, paid for by the committee to elect Lori Likely, Bill Likely, treasurer. Are we caught up or what? I believe so. Wheels has done a great job over at the station answering all the calls and everything, and we've got another hour left to go, and we urge you to be listening. As I said, Tom Harris coming up at 10:06, and then Lieutenant Governor Brad Little will be on the air at 10:30. And right now, I'm going to take a little break and go see how Deanne's doing. We're going to have this good word next for Tommy Ahlquist, and then Wheels will take us up to the news from CBS. Welcome back. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch. Good morning, good morning. I'm Zeb Bell, and we thank our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Getting ready for some big road trips this summer. Driving safety with the best of tires at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And also we want to say thank you to some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, Wheels, if you would please, this good word for Brad Little.
Can we trust Boise developer Tommy Ahlquist? When Obama and Pelosi were trying to grab our guns, Ahlquist was one of the Democrats' top donors in Idaho. Tommy Ahlquist is so liberal, he wouldn't even vote for Donald Trump over Hillary. Now Ahlquist wants to be governor. His plan? Raise taxes on everything, from farm equipment to haircuts. Top Democrat donor. Didn't vote for President Trump. Tax raiser. Boise developer Tommy Ahlquist can't be trusted.
Brad Little is a third-generation Idaho rancher who isn't afraid to stand up and fight for our conservative values. Brad Little is pro-life, pro-traditional marriage, and pro-Second Amendment. Brad Little believes in less government, lower taxes, and more freedom. Brad Little is the conservative champion we can trust. A rancher, a conservative, a courageous leader. Brad Little will be the strong governor Idaho families need. Paid for by Brad Little for Governor, Vicki Risch, treasurer.
Thank you very much, and we've got a couple of more I'd like to remind you about before we go to our guest. I hope he can remain patient. We'd like to say a big thank you to Scott Bedke, State Representative and Speaker of the House, District 27, Position A. He is, of course, urging you to go vote in the primary election on May 15th. Scott, very concerned for Idaho and its growth and prosperity, and he urges you to exercise your patriotic duty and vote on May 15th. Don't forget, Scott Bedke, State Representative, District 27, Seat A, and paid for by Representative Scott Bedke of Oakley, Sarah Bedke, Treasurer. Want to also remind you real quick that Kent Searle wants your vote to become District 3 Cassia County Commissioner on May 15th. Kent Searle, lifelong resident of Cassia County, has the experience of being a farmer and a dairyman and the experience to you as an EMT and first responder, and has gained your trust serving on the Ag Advisory Committee and the Gateway Powerline Committee. Kent Searle says, together, we can make Cassia County even better. Kent Searle for District 3, Cassia County Commissioner, May 15th. Dan Gammon, Treasurer. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I want to give an apology up front to this gentleman for my cold and my hoarseness, but I think you'll stand with me, and that's, of course, the Executive Director of the International Climate Science Coalition, Mr. Tom Harris. Tom, good morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. How are you, Zeb?
Well, I'm doing a lot better today than I was yesterday. I probably won't cough in your ear, so heed that as a warning if I turn the mic off. Tom, I have said for a long time on this program, I've been an advocate against the Al Gores of the world. I've been against the Tom Steyers of the world. I don't believe in, first of all, global warming and then secondarily climate change. Where do you come in on all this as a climate scientist?
Well, basically, we look at the data, the real data, not the computer-generated information. And what we see is that over the last century, we've seen perhaps a degree warming, a degree Celsius, that kind of thing. It's very small and it's beneficial because we were in the Little Ice Age, when conditions were pretty severe. And we also look at things like the extreme weather records. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration have a website where they actually give you all the extreme weather records, most rain, most snow, highest temperature, etc., for every state in the Union for the last, since around 1880. And what you see is that there's nothing extraordinary happening. The only record that was set across the whole U.S. at a statewide level last year, for example, was the greatest wind gust in California. The previous year, 2016 and 2015, there were no records set at all. You have to go back to the 1930s to see when records were set at a state level. And those are the best data records in the world. So, if you look at the real data, it's hard to get very alarmed about climate change.
Well, let me ask you this, Tom, and you're on my side, and I'm on your side, but we hear so much from the liberal left that the Chicken Little syndrome, the sky is falling, we're all going to die, we're all going to burn up next Wednesday at 9:30. What in the world? Why are they saying goofy things like 97% of scientists agree? No, they don't. Why aren't your voices being heard?
Well, the great success of the climate alarmist movement is to get their cause labeled as left-wing, as progressive. And so what that means is that most of the media just support it without even thinking about it. And, the Democrats support it as well. But, in a way, they've been bamboozled because the UN wanted half of the climate finance, and it's about $1 billion, a little over $1 billion a day across the world going to climate finance. The UN wanted about half of that to go to help real people today adapt to climate change, because climate always changes, and it always will, naturally, and some people need help adapting to increasing deserts or permafrost melt where their house may be falling down in the north. And so that's real things that real people need right today. And the UN wanted half the money to go to that, and the other half to go to the rather silly idea that we could stop future climate change. But because the big money is to be made in stopping climate change, building wind turbines or carbon credit trading, things like that, right now, there's about 95% of that money goes to trying to stop climate change, and the poor people of the world today only get about 5% of it. And that's where I would think social justice warriors on the left would be quite upset. But they're not, because they've been bamboozled into thinking that we are the master controllers of the climate. And yet, in reality, we're not helping people who need help because we're so focused on this idea that we are the controllers. And it really is very sad because in some things I'm left-wing. And yet, because of the fact that it's considered a right-wing ideal to be against the climate scare and left-wing to be in favor of it, people tend to be slanted or, basically put in those categories. Whereas, in fact, the idea that, humans are causing dangerous climate change, that is just simply an idea that you can see is wrong based on the data.
Tom, let me ask you this. I absolutely have had many, many people on my program discussing this issue, but my fear is today with the Paris Climate Accord and Emmanuel Macron and others that are really leaning heavy on this administration and specifically Donald Trump to change his views on the Climate Accord. What do you think is going to happen? I'm really afraid that this man, our president, will weaken and join that climate accord, and it's going to hurt everybody.
Yeah, there are signs that may indeed happen. Trump said he was not going to fund the UN climate science body, the IPCC, And indeed, for the last 2 years, the U.S. hasn't given any money to it. But Trump's proposal for 2019 is to start funding it again. So, yeah, there is a real concern. And you do have to remember that it was as recent as 2009 when President Trump, as Mr. Trump, signed an open letter to Obama urging action to save the world from climate change. So Trump has changed sides already once, and he's showing signs of doing it again. So it's very important for people who understand what's real concerning climate change to really hold him to his promises. And you know, in Canada, we had a Prime Minister Harper, who campaigned like Trump against the climate scare. But when he got into power, people on our side of the debate, they said, oh, our guy's in power, so we're not going to pressure him. And guess what? He switched back, and by the end, he was supporting the climate scare. You know, he got Canada into more and more climate agreements. So because of the idea that you have your guy in power, he's going to do what you want, well, that's only true if you hold his feet to the fire.
You know, Tom, let me ask you, I'm not a scientist like you. I shouldn't even be asking questions because I'm so naive about how to ask questions. But really, when you look at the proportion of, first of all, global warming and now climate change, the environmentalists and the politicians are saying, oh, we're all going to burn up. What do they want, really? What's the optimum that they want? I know they want control over all the populace, but when it comes to supposedly the global and atmospheric conditions, what really are they pushing for?
I don't think most of them know. In fact, I think most of the politicians just say what's easy to get them through the day. You know, we used to occasionally meet with politicians, and of course I used to work in the House of Commons, and it was pretty clear that the media were the drivers of government policy, that the politicians were just simply not going to step out of line as long as the media and the public seemed to support a certain point of view. You know, the people who really understand this issue, they have ulterior motives that are quite, you know, you could almost call them sinister, because part of it is world government. Because if you think about it, if you control carbon dioxide, which is the gas given off by burning fossil fuels, among other gases, but CO2 is what the Clean Power Plan, for example, was all about. The Clean Power Plan was misnamed because carbon dioxide is not unclean. The Clean Power Plan did not control any unclean things. It only controlled CO2. And if you think about it, if you control CO2, you control much of the world's energy, because something like 80% of the world's energy comes from fossil fuels. And if you control the world's energy, you control the world. And if you want a really good illustration of that, a few years ago, the Ukraine was having a disagreement with Russia over some kind of foreign policy or something, and Russia turned off the gas, okay? And it wasn't long before the Ukraine came along. So if you control energy, and you can do that through CO2 control, then, yeah, you control the world. One of our previous environment ministers admitted in a rather candid moment that Kyoto, for example, is the flagship of world governance. So, indeed, yeah, I think that's one of the objectives. You know, there's other objectives, like to bring the energy sector under government control, because, of course, if you promote wind and solar power, which need huge government subsidies, then, indeed, you have more and more control. You take it away from very successful industries like the coal industry. And, you know, that's a real tragedy for the United States. I mean, the United States is the Saudi Arabia of coal. You have more coal than any country on earth, and you have enough for over something like 3 centuries, the last I saw, to keep, you know, at current levels with the known reserves. So, indeed, if you use proper pollution control, controlling real pollution, not CO2, you indeed should be using your coal. But because of the climate scare, it's been going down, down, down. And Trump is doing a great job in helping resurrect the industry. But if he moves over, if he moves back to the climate scare, it's a scary future.
Well, it's not only a scary future, but I will maintain this from a very uninformed individual that's not nearly as scientific as you, but warmer climates are absolutely more of a necessity for healthier populations and the growing of crops. The cooler we make this great globe, the more danger we have of people starving to death, world hunger, and people absolutely do not like to live in a colder climate.
Yeah, that's exactly true. In fact, it was during the Little Ice Age that we had much more famines, and interestingly enough, we had more extreme weather as well, because extreme weather is exacerbated by cold weather. It's not the warm. You know, and it's really interesting because if you really think about it, countries like Canada, if we have just like a 1 or 2 degree drop on the prairies, we could lose our whole wheat crop. Okay, and it's cold times that we should be most concerned about. The climate models that the UN cite predict that most of the warming, if it occurred, would be at night in the winter in the very high latitudes. And I don't think there's very many animals, if you go to the far Arctic or the Antarctic, who would really be upset if it was minus 40 instead of minus 45. So, a lot of this just doesn't make any sense. The cold weather is what we should be concerned about, and in fact, we're due for another glacial period right about now.
Yeah.
I mean, right about now in geologic terms could mean 100 years or it could mean 1,000 years. We don't really know. So, indeed, the cooling is much more serious and is something we should be preparing for.
Well, Tom, let me ask you this. Are people listening to you and your organization? Are they just kind of poo-pooing around it, or are they giving you listening audiences, and are they respecting what you're saying? How are you getting the word out?
In Canada, it's very difficult because the media are completely on the side of the climate scare. In the United States, it's a lot more open, partly because you have 10 times as much media. But, for example, yesterday we were published in both the Washington Times and pjmedia.com out of Los Angeles. They get 5 million readers a week. And we get lots of radio interviews, like with this one right now. Dr. Tim Ball, for example, our chief science advisor, had 18 radio interviews in April.
Right.
So, indeed, in the United States, we are getting the word out. And I think that might be part of the reason why Earth Day Network, they changed the theme of Earth Day back on April 22nd from climate change, which had been the theme in many previous years. This year, they were focused on plastic in the environment, and they didn't say much about climate change. And I think that's because it's becoming a dead letter issue for many people.
What would you tell my listeners, and by the way, I had Dr. Ball on my program last week, what would you tell my listeners, Tom, that they should be doing or lending a hand in or speaking out about? How would you tell my listeners they should become proactive?
Well, they should do what the environmentalists do. They should write letters to the editor. They should call into radio talk shows. It's interesting how when I get letters to the editor published, for example, in Lancaster, I think it's in Pennsylvania, automatically there were 2 or 3 letters to the editor attacking me, which were published a few days later. Well, our side have to do the same thing. I mean, letters to the editor supporting our point of view are very important, because I've been told that in many newspapers, after the front page, the letters to the editor section is read the most, perhaps because they're easy and quick to read. So, indeed, people can speak out. They can call in to radio talk shows. That's very important because you're not censored. They can write lots of letters to the editor. Write a standard letter, a letter that expresses your points of view, and whenever you see the opportunity, send it off to newspapers. I send off probably 3 letters to the editor every day. And, yeah, sure, you only get about 1 in 8 published, but, that adds up. And those are the kinds of things people should do.
Let me ask you one final thought here, Tom. Can or will common sense prevail? On a scale of 1 to 10, are we, 1, not going to do anything and we're going to fall under the control of all the environmentalists and the governments, or number 10, are we going to prevail and turn things around?
I think in the long run you'll prevail, because what will happen is electricity rates will increase not 20 or 30%. You'll do what Ontario did. Ontario got rid of our coal-fired power because we wanted to be leading the world in climate change. And that was in 2002. We made that announcement. We reduced all of our coal from 25% to 0, and our electricity rates rose over 300%. They've come down a little bit now, so they're about 200% above 2002 levels. But I think when that happens in many states across the union, people are going to take, what are we doing? This is crazy. The idea that we control climate and we're going to massively jack up our electricity rates, it doesn't make any sense. And I think that's when rubber will hit the road. The trouble is, by then, you'll have turned off a lot of your good stations. So, pressuring people now to keep those coal stations open, to keep the government's feet to the fire, keep their promises, there's no way Trump should be funding the UN climate science body next year. So, indeed, people have to push him and, speak out. That's really important.
Executive Director of the International Climate Science Coalition, Tom Harris. Tom, please consent to come back in the future. I've enjoyed our visit. Love to have you come back.
Yeah, that'd be great. On June 5th, it's World Environment Day, so that'd be a good time to talk again.
I'll put it on my calendar and give you a call. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you.
Nice gentleman and a knowledgeable gentleman right there. Tom Harris, Executive Director of the International Climate Science Coalition. Right now, Wheels, I know you're ready. Can we have this word for Tommy Ahlquist?
Brad Little is desperate, unable to defend his record of raising your taxes and increasing his pay. Professional politician Brad Little is falsely attacking conservative outsider Tommy Ahlquist. The truth? Conservative business leader Dr. Tommy Ahlquist has new ideas and a fresh approach that will move us forward. Tommy Ahlquist will lower taxes, cut wasteful spending, create more jobs, and enact term limits on politicians elected statewide. Like President Donald Trump is changing Washington, conservative business leader Tommy Ahlquist will shake up the status quo. That's why Brad Little is making false negative attacks against conservative outsider Tommy Ahlquist. Professional politician Brad Little is losing his campaign for governor because he raised your taxes and increased his pay. But if Brad's false attacks continue, he'll lose his reputation too. Professional politicians Labrador and Little, 29 years is long enough. Paid for by Tommy for Idaho, Orville Thompson, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. And right now, Ben Crouch wants your vote to become Jerome County District 1 County Commissioner. Ben Crouch says it's time for a fresh approach in Jerome County leadership, and he's the man for the job. Ben has the business knowledge and the ability to solve problems, and his decisive leadership will help Jerome County. Vote for Ben Crouch, Jerome County District 1 Commissioner, on May 15th, paid for by the committee to elect Ben Crouch. Ben Crouch, Treasurer. Oh, we've got a few minutes here, and I've got to gather up more about our great politicals that are running for office, including Jim Patrick, State Senator for District 25. He wants your vote to be reelected on May 15th. Don't forget, Jim is a 40-year farmer and 20-year bank director, and he understands all the business issues that affect our state of Idaho, including all the water issues. And we urge you to go to the polls on May 15th and vote for Jim Patrick, State Senator, District 25, and he feels like he has the continued support for the rural areas of Idaho and wants to help maintain Idaho as a go-for-growth type state. So don't forget, Jim Patrick, State Senator, District 25, paid for by Jim Patrick for Senator, District 25. Apologize, I dropped the papers there for a few minutes, so we got everything taken care of. Also, I want to mention, real quick, before I go any further, Carl Hansen wants your vote May 15th to be your Minidoka County Commissioner. Carl has the leadership experience as a hospital CEO for 29 years, 18 of which were at Minidoka Hospital. He's an organizer and communicator. Carl Hansen wants to address the challenges in Minidoka County and help solve them. Paid for by Carl Hansen for Minidoka County Commissioner, Jason Gibbons, Treasurer. A lot of people have called in during the newscast and everything with well wishes on my cell phone. I really appreciate your kind thoughts. Deanne, of course, not feeling good at all today, and we hope and pray that she gets a little bit better tomorrow. And she's got what I came down with about 3 weeks ago, and I'm still fighting this stuff. And so if we sound a little gravelly voiced and coughing a little bit, I apologize. Doesn't sound good on the air, but we're doing the best we can with not much of a voice here this morning, so thank you very much. Let's see, we've got another good word here, and at this time, Wheels, if you would please, could we have the good word for Fred Wood?
Re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. Here are Fred's views on agriculture.
Zeb, agriculture is the basis of our economy and way of life in Kasia and Minidoka counties. I have wholeheartedly supported agriculture and related businesses in the legislature for the last 12 years, and I will continue to do so.
Vote May 15th. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer.
Oh, my goodness, I've got Deanne, if you're anywhere close, honey, if you could take this phone call. It's coming in from Boise. I'd appreciate that. And hold on one moment, please. I'm on the air. I can't take your call. Stand by. I'll have someone else answer this line. But I want to remind you about the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Southside Community Auction is going to be at 10 o'clock this coming Saturday. Saturday, May 5th, located over in Filer, Idaho, at the Twin Falls County Fairgrounds. This is going to be a great big consignment auction. They're going to have a lot of tractors and farm equipment, and it's on, Deanne, go ahead. And stock trailers, and they're going to have a lot of sporting goods, too. Guns, fishing gear. Oh, it's that time of the year. Go throw a line in the water and catch that big one. Don't forget, this is the Southside Community Auction, 10 o'clock Saturday morning at the Filer Fairgrounds, Twin Falls County Fairgrounds in Filer, starting at 10 a.m., managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys absolutely can sell them all. They do a great job. Oh, by the way, there's something else going on this weekend. Real quick, I want to remind you before I go back over to Wheels on the other side of the river. The Southern Idaho Living Expo is going to take place this coming Saturday, May 5th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Nature's Nursery and Market on 120 East Highway 30 in Burley. It's going to be starting at 10 in the morning. They're going to have all kinds of art contests and gardening tips and grilling tips, food, lots and lots of food. Don't forget that, healthy outdoor living tips. It's going to be a lot of fun. This coming Saturday, Southern Idaho Living Expo, and that's, of course, at Nature's Nursery and Market, 120 East Highway 30 in Burley, put on by our friends at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Don't you miss it. Wheels, I'm sending it over to you. Thank you.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Well, we're in the last half hour, and I'm going to make it through the day with another bad cold, but we're going to win on this thing, I can guarantee you. But first of all, fittingly enough, here's a good word. Wheels is all ready to play it for our friend Brad Little.
Trust Boise developer Tommy Ahlquist? When Obama and Pelosi were trying to grab our guns, Ahlquist was one of the Democrats' top donors in Idaho. Tommy Ahlquist is so liberal, he wouldn't even vote for Donald Trump over Hillary. Now Ahlquist wants to be governor. His plan? Raise taxes on everything, from farm equipment to haircuts. Top Democrat donor. Didn't vote for President Trump. Tax raiser. Boise developer Tommy Ahlquist can't be trusted.
Brad Little is a third-generation Idaho rancher who isn't afraid to stand up and fight for our conservative values. Brad Little is pro-life, pro-traditional marriage, and pro-Second Amendment. Brad Little believes in less government, lower taxes, and more freedom. Brad Little is the conservative champion we can trust. A rancher, a conservative, a courageous leader. Brad Little will be the strong governor Idaho families need. Paid for by Brad Little for Governor, Vicki Risch, Treasurer.
And with that being said, we're going to go to the phone line right now, and I believe we have Brad Little on the phone, Lieutenant Governor for the state of Idaho, that wants to sit in the big chair as governor in about 2 weeks with the primaries going on. Good morning, Brad. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are you? I understand you got a cold.
Oh, I have been down for 3 solid weeks with this cold, and now my lovely bride's got it. So you want to stay away from our place. We're not very healthy.
Well, then I won't swing by the ranch next time I'm down there.
Well, hopefully we'll have it cured by then. With little less than 2 weeks to go, I can imagine that you're darting back and forth all over the state of Idaho, and you've still got a lot to do. How are things going on the campaign?
Good. Yesterday we were in Horseshoe Bend, Cascade, McCall, Midvale, Parma. Today I've got some stuff here. As a matter of fact, I had one of my grandkids' preschool class just came into the Capitol. I got to see them, and that was fun to have my grandkids here in the Capitol.
You know, I just got an advertisement for your campaign. I'm assuming those 3 boys sitting on your lap are all grandsons, correct?
Oh yeah. We got a crew of 5 of them, and we finally got a girl, so that was important to us.
Brad, what's the number one issue that you feel you can really contribute to being the governor of the state of Idaho? What do you think has to be taken care of, and what do you really want to champion?
Well, all along, my big issue is, particularly in rural Idaho, is how do we create the best opportunity for our kids to stay here,
right,
and for those that left to come back. I hear that whether some somebody moved into Idaho 6 months ago or whether they've been here for generations, as we've been blessed to do. And that's, we got to have opportunities. We got to have affordable health care, and we got to have a good education system. But it all ties back into basically having the bait for our kids to want to stay here, and the best bait, of course, is being able to make a good living and plan for retirement.
Well, let me ask you, I've been very much against some of the advertisements that have been run in the state of Idaho that seem to be mocking and running down our educational system, and also making a lot of fun out of our students, saying that they're being dropped off in the desert and they can't go anywhere. I find that just the opposite. I think we've got some excellent people, excellent leadership, and excellent education going on in the state of Idaho. What are your thoughts?
I couldn't agree more. I've spent time in the classrooms, on commencement stages, talking to students all over the state of Idaho. We can always be better, and we are continually striving to make education better. But that ranking that they talk about in those ads is based on how much we spend. It's based on funded preschool. It's based on the income level of the parents. Why would we downgrade our professionals in the classroom by saying we're last in education when they have no control over any of those three things? We get perhaps one of the best values in the United States in public education. Matter of fact, I would attest to that. We today, if you take the ACT test, which is not required, our attainment, our scholastic aptitude in Idaho is better than all the surrounding states: Oregon, Washington, Utah, Montana. Our kids that take the ACT test, our NAEP scores, which is another outfit that basically is kind of the gold standard for measuring education, we're a minimum at the middle of the pack, and in some areas in eighth grade reading, we're at the top, and one of the top. There's only a few ranked above us. That grade that they talk about, I don't know why they don't grade it on the curve. The best state in the union is Massachusetts. I think he gets a B minus, and that's just because they spend a lot of money. So I couldn't agree more with what you said, Zeb, about the unfairness of that media hype that they put out there.
One of the things that I really liked on your advertisement that I had in the mail, it says, educate students in Idaho values like hard work and responsibility. I would absolutely like to go back in time to when I was a young man growing up, and there are all the career advantages and challenges out there if you just want to put forth the effort. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree, and people that haven't been in Idaho and come here and start a small business or even a large business always talk about the work ethic. But we have to be continually adaptive, because you and I both know, you look out the window of the ranch there, and the amount of people it takes to put up a ton of hay or acre or irrigate half a section of land is way different than it used to be. And that's where we learned to work, most of us in rural Idaho. And because of what we've done in mechanizing irrigation, the harvesting of crops, the planting of crops, we have to supplant that basically core value of learning to work hard with other programs and be supportive of what people do in communities, so these kids do learn, first off, just to show up for work. Second off, to be substance abuse free. Third, that they do have to put in a day's work. Where you live down there in Murtaugh, the unemployment rate, when you get into Cache, or when that new plant opens up down there, they're probably going to have a 1 in front of that number. It's probably going to be 1.8 or 1.9 or 1.7 when all those new jobs get deployed. We have got to get people into the workforce that understand the responsibility of being an employee.
You know, Brad, let me ask you this. If you're the governor and you've got a couple of problems to look at, number one, you want to keep Idaho and protecting the Idaho way of life, but yet we have to have more business coming in, more of a business climate. How do you mix the two?
Well, when I first became lieutenant governor, we had 100,000 people in Idaho out of work, and there were no bad jobs. Today, we have the luxury of now anybody that wants to create a job, anybody that wants to come in, it's a free country and a very free state, and that's going to happen. But if we're going to focus on something, we ought to add value to our existing agricultural commodities so that we move basically the whole food chain, that we add value here in Idaho by, we process lots of potatoes, and obviously we make milk into cheese and yogurt and other products in Idaho. We got to do the best we can at adding value, and then we've got to make our product closer, whether that's better roads, whether that's better rail connectivity. Those are things that are going to add collectively to rural Idaho, and very importantly, we need to work on water issues and make sure that groundwater and surface water, that we protect both the quality and the quantity of that water, so that great agricultural machine that exists in Idaho, that we've got adequate water and that we manage it properly. Those are the things that I think we need to do. Some of these rural communities, it wouldn't hurt to diversify them some, because if you have removed a lot of jobs by mechanizing irrigation and harvest, some local Murtaugh kid comes back and wants to open up a facility, a small manufacturing, whatever it might be, that they can do that and be right at home with their parents and with those Idaho values. Those are the things I think we need to do going forward.
Brad, let me ask you to back up just a couple of steps here. You mentioned our highways, et cetera. Let's talk a little bit about the infrastructure. It's an issue that has to be addressed. It's an issue that's going to take a lot of money. What about the supplementation to our infrastructure, which is crumbling apart?
Well, I led on this. I chaired the Governor's Task Force on Transportation. When we did the last little increase in transportation funding, it was a big priority for me. And today, the state, we're about $170 million, $140 million ahead of schedule. A quarter of that money is going to go into roads. And, in these surpluses, some of it we need to put away for a rainy day. Some of it we need to invest in transportation. We need to continue our commitment to education. And those are the things that we need to do. We need to continue to make sure that our smaller jurisdictions, our highway districts, our counties and cities, that they share resources to be more efficient, and that ITD, that our state system is as efficient as possible. We've literally taken 2 layers of bureaucracy out of ITD under the more recent administration of that department, recognizing that we do things different in the construction and maintenance business than we used to, and we're going to have to do all those things.
Brad, one of the elephants in the room is always a conversation about health care and Medicaid issues, etc. What are your thoughts as the potential governor on how to solve some of these issues?
Well, I've done a lot of work on this in the last 5 months, well, actually 8 months. We had in Idaho the most affordable health care of any state, maybe with the exception of one state or two, if you're an individual or a small employer. Obamacare came along and just blew everything up. And we were told by our friends in Congress and the White House that they were going to repeal and replace Obamacare. Well, they haven't gotten that done. Now, they've made a few changes, but nothing significant. They took the tax penalty away. Idaho is the first state. The governor and I issued an executive order in January, the first state to say we want to shed some of the rules, not all of them, but some of the rules of the Affordable Care Act and make it to where we can make health insurance much more affordable. We have had a 90% increase in the cost to individuals and families of the cost of health care. And as a result, a lot of the young and healthy have just dropped their insurance. Our proposal, which is being looked at today in Washington, all they need to do is give us a head fake that they will allow us to do it, and we will have products available to the people of Idaho that will be much more affordable than what's out there today. We need to put back our high-risk pool, which we had before the Affordable Care Act. We need to continue to make sure we have nurse practitioners and physician's assistants and more doctors, and we need to work on substance abuse. Those are all components of bringing the cost of health care down. But most importantly, we've got to make it to where families can afford insurance.
As I stated when we started our conversation, May 15th is right around the corner. And Brad, what would you want my listeners to know about you as a potential governor of the great state of Idaho? What do you want to tell them that maybe they don't know right now? Go ahead, you've got the floor.
Well, Teresa and I ranch and farm over in Emmett, where I'm the only candidate that's not from Boise that's in this primary. I'm obviously I've been involved all over the state of Idaho. I was asked to lead in the wool growers and in the cattle industry and in the philanthropy and in business. So all the time that I've been ranching and farming, I've been lucky to be selected by my peers to lead in all those areas, which gave me a great grasp of the differences of Idaho, the cultures, the values, the economies, and how Idaho's so different. When I get elected governor, instinctively, I will have a much better idea about what's important and what's going to be the best bait to get our kids to stay here and to allow the people that are here to thrive, and I think that's my story.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you this on the end of this, I'd like also a quick comment. We see so much going on, like in the state of California, that goes against our conservative values and also our Constitution, and one of the things I like that you say, you're going to safeguard conservative Idaho values, and I think you're going to stand up and fight for them.
Well, of course, that's why when you go into these communities where a lot of people move from California, and you go knock on their door, they said, and occasionally they'll say, well, we want to make it like California, but for the most part, they came here because of those values.
That's right.
They came here because of family values, because of economic opportunity, because of the lightest hand of government. That's why they came here. Occasionally I have to remind them why they came here when they want us to change things to be like California. And so that is what we have, our ethos, the hard work, limited government, constitutional and family values. That is the gold that has created Idaho, where we're the fastest growing economy in the United States.
Brad, I wish you good luck. I certainly hope that you can stop by the ranch and see us. Brad Little, for governor for the state of Idaho, thank you so much for taking the time to come on my program this morning.
Zeb, I hope you guys are feeling better.
Oh, God bless you. And say hello to your wife for us. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Brad Little running for governor and on our program this morning, and I certainly appreciate him taking the time and calling in this morning. Thank you very much. Wow. Right now, let's see what have I got to catch up on. Oh, here we go. Carl Hansen wants your vote May 15th to be your Minidoka County Commissioner. Carl has the leadership experience as a hospital CEO for 29 years, 18 of which were at Minidoka Hospital. He's an organizer and communicator. Carl Hansen wants to address the challenges in Minidoka County and help solve them. Paid for by the committee to elect Carl Hansen, Minidoka County Commissioner, Jason Gibbons, Treasurer. Wheels, if you would, please, could we have this good word for Fred Wood, and then we'll go to the weather.
Re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. Here are Fred's values on our Constitution.
Zeb, the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution are the basis for our individual liberties and freedoms in our country. I will do everything possible to secure our rights of free speech, gun ownership, privacy rights, and to uphold the 10th Amendment to the Constitution preserving Idaho's state sovereignty.
Vote May 15th. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer.
Oh, excuse the cough this morning. morning. I apologize. I'm just barely making it through this morning. Got just a little left in the tank, and we're going to go to the weather forecast right now. Brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my goodness. You can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Check out all the great meats like marinated prime rib, smoked ham, all the breakfast sausages and bratwurst and bacons. Oh, it's delicious, all of it, and much, much more. Don't forget the number to call, 324-7657. Scarrows Meats with Don Scarrow and the crew over in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's going to be a nice one today. Sunny skies is in the forecast. We are expecting a high of 64 and slightly breezy winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, expect mostly clear skies with a low of 39. Tomorrow, again, another beautiful day. Sunny and a high of 70. Mostly clear for tomorrow night. Winds are going to be out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. Expecting a low of 43. For Friday, even better. Sunny skies, high of 76. Saturday, partly sunny and 78. By Sunday, partly sunny and 77. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, she does a great job giving us our weather forecast. Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and his entire great crew serving you at 331 North Road, Jerome. And remember their slogan, changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrows Meats. Delicious. I would appreciate a call or two. I've got about 4 or 5 minutes here I'd like to spend talking to you, so give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I've never had a cold like this in my life. You know, I'm not complaining about it. There's others 10 times worse off, but, you know, it's just lingered for 3 weeks, and I hope now we're on the mend. We took some leadership yesterday and got some new stuff that we're going to be trying, but my main concern is Deanne. She really got rocked back yesterday, and so we extend the best and hope she feels better by tomorrow. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. Tomorrow on the program, while I have just a moment to bring you an update, we're going to have the chamber report, and I believe we'll be talking to the new chamber manager. And then, of course, we have our Cassia Regional Hospital time where we get a chance to really meet some really nice people and find out more about some of the services provided there at Cassia Regional Hospital. Rita Ramsey's going to be on the program. And then, of course, we've got Cassia County School Days, our business salute. And then at 10:30, we're going to have Representative Clark Kaufman on the air. I'm not sure if he's coming here, if he's going to do it via the phone, but he'll be on the air tomorrow. He's up for re-election in 10:30 tomorrow morning, so we're looking forward to that. Let's see, what else have we got here? Real quick, while I'm waiting for your phone call, I want to remind everybody about get ready for a road trip. I'd love to take a road trip right now. Just get way back in the middle of nowhere. I'll tell you, we'll get a road trip ready, and that means you got to have the best tires for your car, your pickup, your SUV, and they have them. All of them at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Don't forget to stop in and check it out. They've got all the tires for your car, like the Ultra Z900. Ooh, that is a dandy. And for the SUV and pickups, the Terramax HT or the Backcountry All-Terrain. And along with this, they always provide the best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians and, of course, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, everything. And you can stop by for a free pre-trip safety check. That's right, they'll check your tires and your brake components and your wheel alignment, all kinds of things. And if they have a problem, they'll get it taken care of right there at all 7 locations with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best serving you, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I'm about run out of cough drops. I save all the wrappers, and you probably say, why do you do that? Because it's kind of unique. The Hall's Mentholyptus cough drops have all the little encouraging statements. I think I mentioned this yesterday. It says, like on this one, fire up your can-do muscle. And then it says, get back in the game, champ. I mean, there are really positive notes on here, and I'm trying to look at these as I cough and hack and everything else and say, thank you, Halls. I appreciate that. We're We're going to listen to this good word in just a moment for Tommy Ahlquist, and then we're going to let Wheels take it up to the news from CBS. I urge you folks to call in tomorrow morning at 8:06. I'll feel a lot better, I got a feeling. And we'll ride the horse for 3 hours from 8:06 to 11 right here on KBAR 1230 AM, and then streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. I thank you. You're the greatest audience in the world. Thank you much for all you do. And right now, Wheels, if you would please, I'll see everybody tomorrow where we say the way things were are the way things ought to be.